chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news. So let's not stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne. Let's talk about it. Before we do, though, if you want to pick up one of these badass Displaying Model Behaviour t-shirts, then you can do over at teespring.com. Check the link in the description below. And now time for the news. Our top story, Mafex are bringing the thunder. Literally with their classic Thor. Oh my goodness, he looks very, very pretty. Do I want to get him? I don't know, because I've got the 80th Thor, and yeah, I really hate the fact you can't really articulate him very much, but he looks visually at a glance pretty cool. But Mafex Thor, ooh, with that cloth, beautiful wired cape flowing in the breeze, that looks really pretty. Plus, he's got the not a dodgy hand. He's got the spinning Mjolnir hammer, and that's just such a striking effect. Of course, Select have done it. Marvel Legends have gotten the spinning hammer bandwagon now. So finally, Mafex are like, yeah, that does look really cool. So the only little proviso I have with the looks of this Thor is I don't know if he's going to have the same problem as the Marvel Legends one. His hair comes down over the front there, which looks very long and glorious and Fabio-ish. But at the same time, is it going to hinder his head articulation? If it does, then I'm just paying $80 for the same problem. So I don't know about this one. The rest of him with the different expressions and stuff, it looks good, but also another little proviso I'm figuring is that Mafex sometimes can skew just a tiny bit smaller than Legend. So if he goes next to my 20th anniversary cap and he seems a bit diminutive, I'll be like, oh man, it's better be like the God of Thunder, not the average Joe of Thunder. So the jury is out, but I am tempted because I love mixing up the lines for my Marvel collection now. I'm really into that, getting the best examples, but it's an expensive one to go for, so time will tell. But ultimately, looking at the pictures, he does look pretty cool. And not only are Mafex bringing the thunder, but they're bringing the feels with Steel. Steel from Superman, from Reign of the Supermen. And this guy, their Reign of the Supermen line, because it is becoming a line by the looks of things, is really hella pretty. We've got Cyborg Superman, who even though I don't give a monkeys about Superman, I would be tempted to get because freaking love cyborgs, man. Especially evil cyborg versions of superheroes. Ah, it's so cool. And that just looks wicked, but we're not talking about him, all right? Just shut up about Cyborg Superman, okay? We're talking about Steel. And Steel looks very, very pretty. Alright, so just like Thor, he's got the different face sculpts. You have all these sort of different expressions. I love the rah kind of look. That looks really intense and kind of passionate. You can imagine with the big hammer in his hand and a flight stand launching forward. That would look the bee's knees. It would look the business. It would look the mutts, nuts, and the bomb.com. So I'm not interested in buying him because I don't need an entire Reign of the Supermen set, because enough things have taken my money recently, trust me. I'll tell you about him later. But he does look very cool. So for Superman collectors, if you're a DC kind of person, building out your Reign of your Supermen, you've got the black costume Superman as well. This is going to be a fantastic addition. Todd McFarlane recently put out a video telling us about GameStop's McFarlane Day, which is kind of a fun day. I didn't even know it was an observed holiday, but there we go. I might have to take the day off work next year. There are some exclusives available at GameStop, along with a nice little 15% discount as well. Although I'm not sure if that was just for McFarlane Day, which I think was the 24th, or if the 24th of April was kicking off this offer, so check your local listings. But the two exclusives look kind of fun. First of all, they've got Gunslinger Spawn on a horse, and that's just kind of awesome. I don't know if it's the same horse sculpt as the Dark Knight. It's probably not. It probably is an original one. But Gunslinger Spawn on a horse, like, that's just a great Western combination. Only problem, though, you could even see in the video itself when he was talking about the horse, Gunslinger Spawn doesn't sit great on it because the figure's not designed to sit on a horse, and that's fair enough. But still, there was a lot of air going on around the crotchal region of Gunslinger Spawn. He wasn't sat, tight in the saddle. He's standing tall in the saddle, which is a good expression. but doesn't look so great on your action figure shelves. So you might want to sort of play around with that if you get hold of him. But if you can find a good pose where you can't see too much air and awkwardness, that could look pretty wicked. And then also there is the clown bloody version, and Todd McFarlane loves his bloody versions, and of all the characters to be covered in blood, then the clown is a perfect one to go for. It doesn't really do much for me. I don't really get the appeal of bloody versions. It's like I would always want the classic go-to one, you know? But if you want to pick up a clown, which shouldn't be too difficult because I've seen him warming a lot of shelves recently. I wouldn't say pegs because he's too big to be on a peg, but seen a lot of shelf warming from the clown. Maybe you can get a cheaper one at GameStop, but either way, go check them out. Hasbro have released new preview images of two of their, I think possibly crown jewel GI Joe releases for this year. Storm Shadow and Spirit. First of all, let's take a look at Storm Shadow. Both of these look so good. But I want to focus on Storm Shadow first because he's like a bigger, more sort of like charter member of Cobra that you think if you've got a Cobra display, you gotta have Storm Shadow. There's a couple of Storm Shadows out there already, but compared to this Now there's a couple of Storm Shadows out already, but compared to this new one, I think this guy's a big upgrade. For a franchise villain, the amount of details going on with the weapons, the bow and arrow, the swords, just the articulation, the movements and expressions you can get him in, he just looks wicked. I finally, thank you Francis, have a classic ninja Snake Eyes. So now to put a new, what's his name? I'm talking about him. Storm Shadow, thank you. To put a Storm Shadow opposite him, that's going to look awesome. That was an easy purchase. Now, the second one, Spirit, I was actually really on the fence about. I was like, never heard of this guy before. He looks like a bit of a sort of a cliche, sort of 80s type, stereotype kind of character. I was like, I don't know if I really need this. But you know what? I was bold. I was like, you know what? Boom! Hit that pre-order. Let's freaking do it. And then they released these extra pictures and I was like, oh, y'all made a good decision there, Dave. Well done. Because this guy, just the face sculpt, I think looks really kind of, if I could say, soulful. Like this is a real characterful kind of looking face. And then with all the details on the actual buck itself, I think they've gone above and beyond with this, which isn't necessarily above and beyond. It's what you should do for an action figure of this price point, okay? But we don't always get it. So when they do, it's like, yes, okay, well done. That's not above and beyond. It's exactly as it should be. But especially the eagle as well. He's got Eagly with him. That is going to look awesome. Maybe perched on 20th Captain America's shoulders as well. So many different options for that. So Spirit and Storm Shadow, cannot wait to get my grubby little mitts on these. Hot Toys have shown a big preview image of what? Of their 3 No Way Home Spider-Men. They did not waste any time. Hasbro's still like, whoa, hey, hang on, we're getting there, we're getting there. Next year, all right, we promise, 2023. Whereas Hot Toys like, I don't know what y'all complaining about. We got them right here, boom, you looking for this? Granted, it might be easier to just make the cloth goods than it is for Hasbro to sculpt out. I imagine that's how they sculpt action figures, like they're in ancient Rome or something. But Hot Toys, they're not doing the full reveals or anything yet, but we have these 3 different Spider-Men doing the classic meme pose. It looks like if someone has about, realistically, if we think about it, nearly $1,000 to spend on Hot Toys Spider-Man figures, you could have your ultimate No Way Home display. So the more we hear about this, the more I'll be reporting on it, but it's kind of cool to see. Over in wrestling news, Randy Orton celebrated 20 years in the WWE. So I just want to kind of give props for that, because whether you like Randy Orton or you don't, or you're kind of indifferent, that is a dude who has literally dedicated his life to the craft. And the fact of the matter is, the guy is, you know, he's a good-looking, statuesque kind of a guy. If he really wanted to get into a different type of performance industry, like acting or stunt work or something else, I don't think he'd probably have that big of a problem doing it. But clearly, he loves being a professional wrestler. I mean, other than having time off for injuries or the occasional smellness violation, he hasn't really taken an extended break. So I'm guessing he just loves the life, loves the lifestyle, and loves being out there in front of the crowd. So I say, in this instance, more power to you, Randy Orton. He was apparently a real swine when he first joined, like a really kind of petulant child, basically. And we've all watched him grow up into, you know, from a boy to a man, and that's kind of cool to watch the transition of a human being like that. You don't see that so much in other media, but that's the amazing thing about with pro wrestling. You can actually watch a person. It's like the longest running reality show in the world, and that's kind of cool. So congratulations, Randy Orton. Here's to many more years of RKOs from out of nowhere. Going over to a slightly less mainstream franchise now, Nacelle have given full pre-order information and shown new images for their Robo-force line. It's just the first 2 figures coming up, but if these sell well enough, which they're predicting they will do because they're already in the works, to produce a whole bunch more as well. Now these just look kind of cool. It's not something that I would jump at because Robo-force, I was sort of aware of Robo-force as a kid. I think I got some of the figures in a jumble sale, super cheap, and had the like suction cup things on them. They were kind of fun to play around with, but seeing a new zhuzhed up version for the 21st century, I'm like, it's fine. But actually, as far as mech robots go, I think they actually look kind of fun. If you have some futuristic, spacey, industrial kind of display, maybe like a Cosmic Legion sort of thing, they would fit right in there. One thing I'm not too sure about though is they've got the panel on their chest which totally harkens back to the 80s style. Obviously they've done it as a retro design, but I think with the sticker on there, with the circles and stuff, I think I don't like it. I think it looks a bit cheap. Just saying. That's just in the pictures. That's what I see. You've got this really cool, sculpted, articulated mech sort of creature, and it's got like a sticker on the front. I'm like, why are you gonna bring it down like that? But hey, maybe I'm an idiot. Pause left for dramatic effect. So if you want to pick these guys up, then you're going to be available for about $50, which is sort of what I would expect for that kind of look. And they'll be shipping around the fall of this very year. Queen Studios have shown images of their Iron Man Mark 1 statue, and I just want to mark out over this a little bit. Mark over Mark 1, because the details. I mean, I love this costume. I love it in the comics. I love it in the movie because it does literally look like Tony Stark built this in a cave out of scraps. Like, that's what it looks like. I love the bodged, hacked together kind of job with the servos and the pulleys and the cables and stuff. What you can do with a statue that can really show off this kind of stuff, well, you can see in the pictures, it looks really, really impressive. And it should do because, of course, it carries a hefty price tag. So it's retailing for $795 and it's going to be limited to just 400 pieces. And that's actually that is low. Even for a limited edition, that is low. Interestingly, it's not actually directly available in the US. It's going to be available from, available in the UK and Europe and Macau and Hong Kong. But hey, I'm sure that if you're willing to drop nearly $800 on a statue, you probably got some sneaky ways and means of getting stuff from overseas, haven't you? Go on, you got your sneaky connections. So yeah, this guy looks pretty cool. Hot Wheels! Wheeling the way! Is it wheeling the way? Leading the way? I never picked up on that. Either way, there's going to be a Hot Wheels movie next year. I bet that's something you didn't realize you wanted. But look, we all grew up with Hot Wheels. Cars, trucks, all that kind of thing. You know, well, boys did. Alright? Boys grew up with cars as toys. Not girls. Girls, you know, they don't want to play with these kinds of things. If a girl got a toy car for a present, then, you know, that's how serial killers are made. Thanks, Todd. I'm not going to let that one go. I'm going to be nicer to Todd, but sometimes I'll still stick in the knife. So next year, we're going to be getting a Hot Wheels movie made by J.J. Abrams and his Bad Robot Company. That in itself doesn't really fill me with any kind of, optimism. You know, I think J.J. Abrams, he kind of built a reputation on Lost and then has been coasting on that for a while. I'm looking at you, Star Trek, can't even remember the name, Star Wars sequels. How am I going to criticize something? I can't even get the name right. That's why you come here, guys. It's for the bants, not for the facts. But it does star Margot Robbie, so that is a plus point because she is just the most charismatic, likable lead in any movie I've seen her in. I've never seen a bad Margot Robbie performance. So that in itself is a good thing. But hey, it's not like I'm going to watch The Suicide Squad again, so it has to still be a good movie. But around about this time next year, We can all find out. Now, obviously, Hot Wheels is literally just a franchise of toy vehicles, so there's no story or narrative behind it. But I'm thinking if they do something kind of like The Amazing Race or Wacky Races, Gumball 5000 or whatever that was called, Smokey and the Bandit, something like that, that could be really fun, where they bring in all sorts of different cars and machines, so it's not just like Fast and the Furious, where it's all muscle cars, but you can have monster trucks and race cars and bikes and planes and all the kind of stuff you get with Hot Wheels. That in itself, that could make for a fun movie. One of my most anticipated things, I guess, for this year is the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles side-scrolling beat-em-up game Shredder's Revenge, which totally acts as a kind of tribute sequel to the 90s arcade classic. Now, already this game looks amazing, but one extra little point going for it is that the makers have brought in the 4 original voice actors for the Turtles. So the ones who we watched in the 80s, the classic animated show, yep, we're getting them all back to do dialogue for this game. There is so much to be excited about here. The only annoying thing is, still don't have a release date for it. So they are, you're killing me here, guys. But having said that, I will wait as long as I need to wait for a good game. As is often said in the games industry, a delayed game is only delayed for a set period of time, whereas a bad game is just bad forever. So if it takes a little bit longer to get the tweaks out and just make sure it's the best experience possible, I will sit back and just keep building the anticipation, because this thing, this looks totally radical, dude. Today, on this very day, the Hasbro Pulse GI Joe team are going to be having their Hasbro Pulse GI Joe team Not Redundant live stream, where a whole bunch of stuff is bound to be revealed, just like the Marvel Legends one we had last week. So this is one that now, just the more time that goes by, the more I get into GI Joe, and it's like, oof, Marvel Legends, you're being a little squeezed out there, but all that means is you gotta up your game a little bit, give us some more bang for our buck. But some of the new Joes coming out, as I've said before in previous videos, they seem to be harkening back to a more retro kind of style that I'm not quite so into. So I'm intrigued to see what they're going to show in this live stream and what's going to pique my fancy. But you know for a fact that whatever is shown, forgot to complete the sentence there as I was saying it, whatever is shown, I'm going to be talking about it. Over in movie news, I'd like to offer a can of Coke to Marvel Studios, who are refusing to edit Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness for the Saudi Arabian censors. The Saudi censors had a problem with about 12 seconds of dialogue in which the character America Chavez refers to her two mothers. So I really respect Marvel for saying, no, that's the story, that's the character, and we're not changing it. And this is really nice to see. But also, like, I'm gonna give you like just a regular can of Coke, but not like a super deluxe one, because this is something you should do. You shouldn't bow to bullies who say that, oh, we don't want that. It's like, what? You don't want regular, normal human beings being referenced in movies? Well, okay, then don't show it. Don't have it, you know? I really am happy with that, but also that's just how it should be. We should be saying, yeah, if you're going to be prejudiced and bigoted towards just regular people, then yeah, we're not going to do business with you. And Disney already did this with the Eternals as well. The Eternals didn't show in Saudi Arabia because they refused to edit it. So I'm happy to see that. So thanks, Disney. I think that's really cool. It's what you should do, but I'll still give you credit for it. Finally, at long last, Sony, thank you. We are getting an El Muerto movie. Anyone? No? Okay. El Muerto is a very small character, but he's in the Spider-Man universe. So of course Sony are scraping the bottom of the barrel to try and get whatever properties and licenses they can do. But this could actually be an interesting character. El Muerto is based on Mexican wrestling folklore, basically. I don't know that much about the character. I must have read it when I was reading Spider-Man, but it didn't make a huge impact on me. But to see a comic book style movie about Mexican wrestling and some of the legends and the ideas behind that, that's kind of cool. I actually dig this. So even though I think it's a Spider-Man character, I can't see it being hugely sort of in the Spider-Verse, so to speak. So I'm interested. And also, the character's apparently going to be played by the rapper Bad Bunny, who I'm only familiar with because he's had some interactions with WWE. He wrestled on WrestleMania last year and actually surprised a load of people by being really pretty good in the ring. So he's got a lot of charisma, he's got a big following. So just the fact that this guy is doing a big budget superhero style movie about Mexican wrestling mythology, I'm interested to see where this goes. Sony also confirmed that Venom 3 and Ghostbusters Afterlife 2 are in production, and that's kind of just news that we sort of assumed, but they've actually stated it. So there's just a bit more sort of oomph behind that. Apparently Ghostbusters is in production at the moment, like that's all happening. And Venom 3, they're just trying to straighten out various little bits here and there. Probably not the script, because clearly Sony has a who cares attitude with Venom scripts. It's like, oh, people are going to go watch it because they're stupid, so we'll just do any old crap and put Venom in the title and that'll work. It's worked before. It's not going to work this time, Sony. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, chicken and rice. Fool me thrice, that's not gonna happen. I'm staking it now. I am not gonna go see Venom 3. Check back in 2025 to see if I stick with that. But Ghostbusters Afterlife, I'm very much looking forward to a sequel. So that's kind of cool. And rounding out the Sony Spider-Verse news, we had 15 minutes of footage shown at the recent Sony Con of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the Spider-Verse sequel. It's difficult remembering all these different names and tags and whatnot. So what they've said is that this movie, it's going to have 240 characters appearing in it across 6 different universes. I'm kind of surprised that there's only 6 universes. I thought they'd probably be jumping and hopping around all sorts of different things. 240 characters doesn't mean anything, because that's like, I'm sure, just like blink and you miss it. Because one thing that Spider-Verse has shown is that the writers know what they're doing and they know how to craft a good story. So they're not going to try and craft a 90-minute story with 240 characters. But, you know, the eagle-eyed amongst us will be able to spot, apparently, 240 recognizable characters. And that's kind of fun. I'm sure that after this movie releases, there's going to be 10 billion YouTube videos pointing out each individual character and reference. And honestly, I'm down for that. They also announced the name of the sequel to Across the Spider-Verse is Beyond the Spider-Verse. Beyond! And I kind of love the fact that we are getting a double bill, basically, 1 year apart. So the dates are June 2nd, 2023 for Across the Spider-Verse, and then Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to be released on March 29th, 2024. So that's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. Sony is such a weird company that make really great stuff and absolute trash. And hopefully never the twain shall meet. Let's just, you keep your trash over there and keep the good stuff over here, and I'll go watch that, and Venom 3 can play to empty theaters, hopefully. We'll find out. So guys, thanks very much for watching. What did you think about the various stories I covered? Comment below. Let me know. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then join the 6-1 clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you want to go one step beyond in supporting the channel, you can do by going over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior. Just like these saviors of model behavior did, and you can watch all the exclusive videos on there, but that's not all. Because you might be aware that occasionally I do the odd live stream. I live stream a lot. I just get a kick out of live streaming. And when I do, I will sometimes do call-in shows. So if you want to get to the head of the queue and appear on an episode of Model Behavior, then sign up to the Patreon. You'll get the link and you can appear with me and we can talk shop together. So guys, thanks very much for watching. And until next time, that was a good one. Keep displaying model behavior.